Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again, thank you for stopping by. So we're back with the Tamiya TB-01 German rally car, Subaru Impreza. I've had so much fun with this car. When I started this channel, I never really thought we'd incorporate rally cars into it, but I'm so glad I have. They're so much fun. I actually thought I'd come to the end of this car. If you've not checked out the previous videos, please do. We've done a sort of overhaul on the car, and then we've done an electrics video on the chassis and what have you, right through to a running video on gravel. Now, the gravel was too rough for it at the time, but I still did the video anyway. But since then I found an even better area. But as I said, I thought I'd done with this car because at the time, condition wise it wasn't a shelf queen when I got it, but it wasn't bad. I wanted to get some original decals for it, but they're like rocking horse poo, and if they do come up, they're mega expensive. So I kind of thought, well, that's the end of this car. But from me owning this car till up to today, this has happened. Ta-da! Look at that. So MCI now do the reproduction decals for this German rally car, which I am so chuffed about. So as soon as I heard, I got them on order. I then jumped out and got the PS7 for the rear wing. So we're now in a position where we're going to really spruce this car up. Again, it's not going to be a shelf queen, it's a runner, but for the cost of a can of spray and a set of reproduction decals and a load of elbow grease by me, we can have this thing looking pretty cool. And that's what I plan to do. So in this video, we'll be getting the body prepped, all the old decals off, wing off, sanded, smooth, sprayed up in the correct colour, and then obviously all the new decals on. Now, I've just done the Colin McRae replica rally car with the MCI decals, and these are all very, very similar. So I know there's a fair bit of work that goes into it, but this will be well worth it. And while we're working on it, we'll try and clean little bits of the shell up if possible. Yeah, it's going to be a great little project, this. Probably on video you're saying, what's wrong with these decals? Because it doesn't come across on camera. Because they're like 20-year-old on this car, they've developed, a lot of them were lifting. I tried to put a few of them down, but they just weren't having it. And I don't want to just get a load of super glue and adhesive and stick them down, because I just think it makes a mess. Maybe I'm using the wrong stuff, I don't know. But I've not really had any success with this one on the decals. I did do a bit of work on. They're also cracking, so that's probably down to the way the car's been stored for 20 years possibly, and in sunlight, hot conditions or whatever. So anyway, if you're screaming at the screen now, don't trash these original decals, you'll have to trust me on this one. These decals are in a state. So I think that's enough chatting. The first stage to do, what's the first thing we'll do? We'll whiz the wing off, and we'll start peeling all these decals off, because that's going to be a bit of a mission in itself. Sore thumbs, but nevertheless it's going to be worth it when it's done. Let's get cracking. Well, we're about an hour and 20 minutes into this, and it's horrendous. As I said earlier, all the old decals were sort of cracked, so it's painstaking to take them off. I've got one side pretty much done. I'm just sort of going around now to every decal I find. Some problematic ones on here that are coming off like a mil at a time. So anyway, we'll bat on, but as I say, about an hour and 20 into it at the moment. Right, that's the decals off, and it's come up a treat, to be fair. It probably took me about 2 hours to get those decals all off, with some very sore thumbs. I used WD-40 and hot soapy water and another product, but it didn't really help because of the cracks in the because of the age of the decals. But as you can see, it has come up a treat. So I've washed it now, hot soapy water, and I let it drip dry. So we're good. I think I've got to look at the front end, because I think that front spoiler, the lower one, needs to be black, so I might just have to do that next. And what I'm on with now, I got the Tamiya polycarbonate cleaner out, and I'm taking the black paint off the wing. As you can see, it's coming off a treat. So yeah, I'm liking that, and I've just done both sides of that one. So I'll finish those off and we'll get that painted, and then we'll come back. Right, that's the wing painted and mounted, and that's looking pretty cool, if I'm honest. The colour match isn't bad at all, from obviously TS paint to PS. But yeah, that's I'm happy with that, and I'm especially happy with how the shell has cleaned up. As I say, probably got to do a black line round here, which I'll do next, and then it's just a case of getting the decals cut out, and we'll start sticking them on. Right guys, it's the morning after the night before, as I say. So we got the shell to this stage, and last night when this hardened enough, obviously I mounted it to the chassis. Looks awesome, gotta say. The colour match from TS to PS is far better than the Subaru blue, this blue Subaru I did with the PS16. But that'll be because I used PS16 on that wing, and obviously it had PS paint, whereas the TS version of PS16 would have probably been a better finish. But are you going to spend $12 on a can of paint just to get that sort of extra detail? I know a lot of you do, but I can't really afford to do that. So anyway, this one's worked out well, very chuffed. I've also put the black line on the front splitter, or whatever you call it. That's quite an important detail, because I've seen lots of cars that don't have that. And what you do have, you have a blue decal starting up here and then coming down and ends there. So it'll probably cover the majority of that side up, but it leaves that open, and if we're lazy and we left it orange, it's just not, you know, 100% box art. So it's an easy one to do. So as I say, I'm really happy with how this shell's cleaned up. There's a couple of marks on it that I can't really get off, but nevertheless, considering it's a used shell, I do believe this is going to spruce up really nicely. So that's the shell. So guys, this is what I mean about the preparation side of it again. With reproduction decals, and to an extent with original decals, I always lay them out on a table in front of me, because it's so easy. Just something like a little silly thing like a side of a window frame. You get that one wrong and you use it, you know, you're running the risk of damaging a decal. So as I say, this is still the first sheet. I've got some like spurious decals here that I've just put off to the side. I haven't a clue. Well, I know where some of them go, but some of them are certainly not needed. So what I've done is, as you can see, first one I'm going to do is the front windscreen, and I make sure that I get all the correct sides for it. Then same with the rear, the two sides, and then they're the basic sort of car decals, grills, lights, things like that. They're the roof lines. That's an excellent detail on the car. And that's the rear wing decal, only 3 decals on it. Now, why this pays off is, this had a 3rd decal. As you can see, 2 go to the left. Sorry, I put that wrong side. 2 of them go to the left and one's right-sided. I just found the 2 decals and put them down. Had I used them, that would have been wrong. Obviously, for either side of the wing, it needs to be left and right. So again, I just think it's one of those times, what's that saying, measure twice, cut once. You know, it's definitely a case of that. Anyway, I'm finally going to get started. I do not like putting decals on while I'm filming, because I like to use my full concentration for doing this. So as I say, we'll do the front and rear windows first. We'll then do the sides. In fact, we'll stick all the car decals on, everything you can see there, and then we'll come back to it. Right, just wanted to show you this quickly, because one of the trickiest parts of this is where to start. As I say, we've got the 4 decals we want. Now, I always start with the bottom, always. And that's because it has this big ridge in the plastic that you can just follow. That's the top one. if you started with that one, it'd be pretty difficult to get it right. Obviously you're trying to line the sides up, so if you go higher, it starts in the wrong place. So it's pretty much there-ish. But if you don't get that quite right, and then you put your bottom one on, and if that length isn't correct and you get a gap, oh, this is coming across on camera, you run the risk of getting a gap in between, whereas it should be, it's actually the wrong side, but you can see what I'm saying. So I always start with the bottom one. Now, what I was talking about only taking the minimal amount of backing off, that's how much I've taken off, like 8mm of that corner. And then I just bend it slightly like that, and then as you can see, the front ends up. This now allows me to do this. Without touching that end, I can now move it up, down, whichever way I want. It's just, and I've also put the body shell on the car, because if it's not, it tends to wobble around. Still a little bit wobbly, but far better. Just allows you to sort of put some pressure on it. So as I say, this sits in this ridge here. Now, as I say, this is the very first decal, so this is the most important because everything else will follow on from this one. So I've got my fingers and I am pushing it down into the ridge and trying to line the two sides up by using this silver line that's on either side of the decal. I'll shut up and just do that. And then I like that, and then I just touch it down like that. And then that decal is in position. And then what I'll do, I'm going to do this off camera because this decal's quite involved. Well, let's try it, in fact. Another thing you can do, I would have normally done this in one go, but if you're unsure, just take that much of the backing off again. Again, this allows you to play using my thumb, and don't put a lot of pressure pulling to the right. That's the worst thing you can do. Don't stretch your decals because they will lift if you do that. And it's just a case of letting the decal follow its own line. As you push it over, you'll come to, that's not right, push it down, and you'll come there. I can feel where the backing's there. Now just have a good line to play with that. Don't go absolutely crazy pushing it right down just yet, because obviously we've got to get this side down. So I'm going to take a little bit more off, probably to about there. Get the scissors, cut, oops. And then again, holding the side so you're not holding any adhesive. Get your thumb, so I'm working across and down at the same time. And not putting any pressure with my right hand. Got to the backing again. Now it's important that we line this, we make sure that this line here from the black onto the shell is correct. And that ain't bad at all. Look at that line. Now this has got some overspray down this side, which I've never noticed. The actual line of the window is actually there. That's come over by about 2 or 3mm. Didn't notice that, and that one's cock on. So I'm really hoping that when we put, which side is it? This side on, we're going to cover that orange paint, which I'm pretty certain we will do. So make sure that's down a bit more, and then lift up, take your final bit off. Try not to get too much on your fingers, and then again work it along and down like that. Final check, make sure it's looking good, and then that's when you can start applying the pressure. Do the nice easy bits first. When it's like this and it's got a groove, make sure you work that decal all the way into the groove and the folds. Really, really important, that. And then moving up to the top side. There. And then finally go back to your edges. Sorry, I know this is not probably great on camera, but make sure everything is down flat on that side. And that, my friends, is the very first decal on. Right, that's all 4 windows on, or 4 sides of the windows, I should say. Is it perfect? Nope. Are the MCI decals perfect? Nope. but it's not bad. It's what's to be expected from using them. Looking pretty cool, to be fair. Made a big error on the bottom one down here, cut it too short, but as I say, if you take your time with these things, you know, I'd have to point out where that mistake is. And obviously once the rest of the decals are on, it'll just disappear into the background, as it were. So super happy. Now I have come across one issue that I didn't expect. The guy who's painted this initially has put the window mats in the wrong place slightly, a couple of mil out either side. So you can see here I've got some paint just coming through. That corner there's paint underneath. So once I finish this, I'll have a little bit of work to do with a cotton bud and the Tamiya polycarbonate cleaner to take a little bit of that paint off. Now, didn't notice that because he must have covered it up with the decals. So fair play to him, but that does mean that the decals weren't in the right place, and I don't like that. So decals are in the right place. That's looking mighty fine. Definitely 100% on this one. Once it's all finished tomorrow, I like to give them like, once the decals are done, I like to give them like a full night just to see what they do. Push any down that have lifted slightly, and then I'm definitely going to get the hairdryer on this one tomorrow, which I didn't do on the blue Scooby, but I've got the blue Scooby still here, so I'll do both cars in one hit. It'll just get these down and it'll keep them down. Sorry, it'll get these down and keep them down, because you're asking the decal to do quite a lot with the shape of the car. But as I say, that ain't looking too bad, is it? So now we'll do the easier ones now, which is all the sort of front grille, the grills, any bonnet details, the easy stuff. So let's get cracking with that. Just another quick interesting one, again just aimed at the newbies, and especially with reproduction decals. So this is the left front headlight. Now obviously that's how it's cut out, but if this was Tamiya, this line here is an actual cut line. So you can get around this bend, and so it goes round in one piece. Excuse me, if I was to try fit that in one go, starting there and then bending it round, this bend would be absolutely terrible. So as I say, you just follow the white line, cut that little wedge out. I cut down a little bit deeper, probably about 2 mil more, and then I'll fit it at the front end. So I'll get that front right, and then we'll tuck it down either side of the cut, and then we'll work on that, and it'll start to fold round, as you see. Definitely worth doing, otherwise you're going to have that horrible wrinkle effect there. It's very difficult with headlights not to get a little bit of wrinkling, but if you don't make that cut line, you're going to definitely 100% have some serious wrinkling. Right, latest bit of progress. We've got the wing. There's only 3 decals on the wing. 2 side ones and then the main Subaru at the back. And that was a pig to get straight, actually. Looks an easy one, but it's not. And then we've done the front end, of which there's not a great amount of decals there, but as you can see, all the lights and grills are there and Subaru badges in. So yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. Tiny little bit of easy for me to say, where the decals have wrinkled slightly, but I'll keep working on that. And as I say, I'll use a hairdryer as well, which will definitely help. But yeah, that's not too bad at all. So I'm just going to look through the decals that are remaining from the first sheet. Like I know that big Pirelli goes, I believe, somewhere on here. Or it might be there, I don't know. But what I have to do now is sort of cross-reference and make sure that none of these decals go on top of the main ones. So I'll only put on the obvious ones, and then we'll start cutting out that second sheet. Right, we've got to the difficult stage, and this looks rather difficult too. So basically this big decal goes all the way around the turbo vent or intercooler vent, whatever it's called, and it's made up of 2 decals, actually 3. So this is gonna be horrendous. So basically this line here, this flap here has to go in there. Somewhere like that. So I've got to get that line dead straight, and then that gives me where the full decal goes. A bit higher up, and then this is gonna wrap around, and then once that's in position and the rest of this decal's down, this one is gonna got to go over the top, lined up like that, and then this end my finger is tucked all the way down. And there's also a vent, which I just need to figure out if that's got to go in first or if it goes in after. Looking at this, I would say it's got to go in first. Yeah, that vent. Oh wow. Right, this is going to take some doing. Right, it's on, and boy is that not fun. That's a very tricky decal. I've got it on not too bad, I have to say, but wow, there's folds everywhere, lines. The way it tucks down is quite nice. Obviously, as I keep saying, I am going to get the hairdryer on all this when I'm done, which will make it look even better. But as you can see, that don't look bad at all. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Whew. I don't know if that's going to be the worst decal or the big one that runs down this side, but anyway, we've got to go on. So next up, I've got a couple of those there for the front, for the spotlights. I don't know if I showed you at front end. I've now added this one and this Pirelli and these two side ones. So those two small net ones are going to go on spotlight covers. Then there's two bigger ones, net, and they do something like that either side. Might be the other way. This, I believe, goes somewhere there. And then we've got the main roof one, which is something like that. So let's get them on. Right, latest update. That's it only has one net at one side, and the other one goes up. Oops. So you got that one there, and then the other one goes there, which is a little bit odd. Obviously, the big roof decals on now, these sides, and the net for the spotlight covers. So that's where we're up to. Next job now is, oh no, there's these nice decals here, which I think I didn't even notice these. I don't even know if they were on originally. Those little roof ones there that go down either side. That's they look pretty cool. So next is the sides. So I'm going to cut the rest of the decals out now, because while I was doing them, I was cutting and shoving. Just one thing I do want to point out about MCI decals. And I probably will give Nathan some feedback if he hasn't had this already. But there's some white lines against that green that shouldn't be there. Now, obviously, what you can do with a very sharp knife is cut where this green is and take the in-between bit off, and go all the way around and do it. It's quite a bit of work to do that, but if you want it perfect, that's what you're going to have to do. Even on the these side ones, I don't know if you can see the white. There's three white lines. So again, you would have to cut that with a knife. It's easily done with a sharp craft knife, but from a distance, obviously it looks fine. There's no issues whatsoever. But if there's any of those guys watching this who love the actual exact detail, then Nathan's actually going to have to change the design. I don't know if he's aware of it, but obviously we'll get in contact with him, and then hopefully in the future when he starts sending them out, that issue won't be there. Right, let's get these side. I'll just show you. So it's these ones now. Now that from that number one all the way along, that's one decal. Really worried about this one because this bit goes in a lot of creases at the bottom of the sill of the car. So I'm a bit concerned about that, and this one stays on it, so it all gets cut out in one hit. That's one of the fronts that starts, the wheel arch is here, that starts and then goes down. And then there's I think those two there are for the rear to break the blue into the white. So still a fair bit to do. I'm still left with lots of little decals left over, but I believe a lot of the white decals go on top of these blue ones. So as I always say, let's get cracking. Right, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, but we've got some nasty decals to put on yet. So as I said, I'll just show you what have I done. Oh, I've just done a bit of the back. I've got those two on now, and that big Norris bank at the back. So now it's obviously where the blue is, where we've got to put these lines. So basically we have this thing. Obviously this is going to line up, that's going to need trimming again. This is going to line up there somehow. Oh my word, this is a big old decal. My issue is here. That's going to be my issue, getting it in there. That is going to be an absolute nightmare. And obviously getting the height of where, obviously, those wheels, it might be as well. Yeah, you see that paint drops off, so it needs to come down. So anyway, we've got to figure that out. And then once that one's on, we've got this huge Norris bank that you lose part of this white writing over the wheel arch. It doesn't go above it. But anyway, that can't be done until these sides are on. And then on the front, we have this, which not too sure where that's got to go. Yeah, it goes down at the bottom. So we've got to trim that up, make that better to match the wing, and then that's going to go around and feed round there. But obviously you can see the orange, so that needs a bit of work. And then we've got two of those for the rear, and I have no idea at the moment how that's supposed to go. I presume it'd be something like that maybe. Oh my word, never ending. Right, let's concentrate on these. These were the ones I'm dreading all along because I know how this body's folded. Anyway, stop bitching, Glenn. Alright, let's crack on. Well, that was horrendous, as predicted. I need to go back to it and do some work in this corner. I tried to start there, but wrong place to start. So I started here and lined all this up and get it into this crease here. So all that's great. The main sticker's great. That, although it looks like it's going off at an angle, that's actually correct because to keep it straight here. But obviously with this big sill mould here, this sticker all folds in. So I'm just trying to get it in there with my fingers now. What I'm probably going to have to do is get a sharp knife and just trim a little bit around that, and it'll look a lot better. I would imagine on the original Tamiya decals you had some cut lines, I would have thought, or some instruction to make a couple of cuts so that folds in on each other. But yeah, I mean, not bad. Not looking forward to the other side though, but let's do it. Right, that's the other side on. I got that on a lot quicker because I knew what I was doing, and I've made it slightly neater. It doesn't quite come to that arch there. There's about 1 mil of showing, which I could touch up with paint if needs be. The decal cannot come off, so it is what it is. But it's right into all the nooks and crannies, as we call them in UK. God damn, that's a difficult. It's asking the decal to do so much, but it actually has gone on way better than I would have thought with what the shape of the shell's asking it to do. So anyway, that's good. We've got two sides on now. So now let's have a look at this big Norris bank and see how that goes on. Right, that's it done. Not happy at all with these side decals. As I say, well, I haven't said this yet, I think that this wasn't all one decal on the original. I put this side on in one go and it's horrendous. I've got to make some cuts here and there to improve it. Obviously from a distance, yeah, it looks awesome, but close up it's too lumpy. What I did was on the other side, I did it in two halves. I cut the white completely, and it's definitely improved, definitely. But as I say, it's done. What else have we done that you haven't seen? Just some stuff on the back. So we've got these side decals on now and some sponsor decals. They look pretty cool. And on the front, we've got that front section done where it goes down. A little bit of tidy up needed there. And a bit of tidy up. Well, that side's a little bit better. But the front, I like it. It looks meaty. I like it. Right, let's get it on the car. Right, she ain't looking bad. It doesn't have that wow factor for me because obviously it looked like this in the beginning. So it's not like it's a new car. Obviously, to me, it just looks cleaner. So much going on. There's another one I just didn't realise all the amount of decals needed. The orange spoiler, the wing, makes a hell of a difference. I got really used to it in black. That looks sweet, doesn't it? I did get really used to it in black, but I think as you can see, the correct colour, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm liking that. And she's done. Whew! That took all day. I don't know why I always say this at the end of the video and act like I'm surprised that it took so long. Anyway, very happy with it. Decals, bear in mind that these are just available from MCI now. So up until 4 weeks ago, if you couldn't buy an original set, you couldn't do this car. So the fact that MCI are now doing these reproduction decals is absolutely superb. Are they as good as originals? Nowhere near. They look awesome, but close up, as I said, there's a few light white lines that need to go. But I'll contact MCI, I'll take some pictures and let him know. And usually he puts these faults right. Yeah, very happy. As I said, it hasn't got the wow factor for me because the car looked like this when I got it, although it was a bit more battered. But obviously that box art wing spoiler looks superb. It really does. It totally transforms the car, which I'm quite surprised about because I got used to it in black, and when I was looking at it I thought, well, it ain't going to be that much different. But yeah, it is. It's way different. So I've not done the wheels. There's two decals each. That go on two of the spokes on each wheel. I've not put them on because I need to clean these wheels up, and I'm going to do a separate video about tyre decals. I've got some on order from MCI, and the 3 rally cars I've got, I'll just make a video because what I'm going to do on the Cosworth, I'm going to put the proper Ford Motorsport decals on those wheels, but I'm also going to put the tyre decals on, and while I'm doing that, I'll do both tyre decals on the Scooby, so we'll just do a full video on that, and then you'll see the difference that tyre decals can make on these 1/10 saloon cars. Absolutely cock on. So I think that's it. So what's next for this is the TB-01's got a radio gear in, so it's just about taking it out again and doing a running video. It'll be a very light running video. I've got a new place again, very light gravel on top of tarmac, so I can slip around, I can kick up some dirt, but it's not hurting the car apart from dust, so it'll take a clean up. What I must say, I'll leave this 24 hours and I'll come back to it and I'll get the hairdryer on all the decals. I'm going to do a blue Scooby at the same time because these window ones are not lifting, but they're not just bending over, so we'll get some heat into them and we'll bend them out over. Once that's done, you won't have to touch them again. So I think that's about it, guys. Don't know how long this video is, but not to worry. So, once again, thank you so much for watching, it's really appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing to support us and smash that notification bell for our weekly videos. But the most important thing as always is happy RCing.